Well, hello there, and welcome to All Souls, Unitarian Universalist Congregation of New London, Connecticut. I'm Caitlin O'Brien, Associate Minister, and with me in worship today is All Souls member and newly ordained UU Minister, Mark Robel. It's good to be with you today, Reverend Mark. And we want to say a special welcome to folks from UU Society East in Manchester who are joining us today as well. It's so good to have you with us. Our accompanist today is Bill Groth. Tammy created the slides that will guide us, and Jesse has pulled everything together technically. Mary Gorton will light our chalice in just a moment. It is completely mind-boggling to me that we are in the second Sunday in August. I don't know about you, but I find that our services kind of help me to mark time and slow down a little, if only for our time together. I'm so glad that you clicked your way to be here with us today. Welcome to All Souls, where all souls are welcome. You are so joyfully called to worship. Please join Charlie Ewers in singing our opening hymn, Love Will Guide Us.
Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way.
Thank you so much, Charlie, for your beautiful singing. Now, please speak with Mary Gorton, our chalice lighting words. And I would like you to take note of the beautiful new hallway color at All Souls behind Mary where she's standing, as well as the joyful sound of our masked and distanced choir practicing in Unity Hall as she speaks.
As we kindle this flame, may it spark in each of us connection and commitment to this living tradition and to each other.
Thank you, Mark, and thank you, Mary. And today we light a candle of peace for the peace that we seek in our inner selves. We know that peace begets more peace, and that our calmest self is the most ready to navigate what comes. The increase in Delta variant cases in our region is very unsettling. It asks us to pivot once again. It asks us to bear restriction and some uncertainty once again. As we wait for scientific answers and as we plan our lives around those answers, may we cultivate within ourselves a sense of calm. If we've wandered, may we return to the practices that bring us a sense of peace. Let us say amen. Amen. Our story for all ages is a well-known one called Stone Soup. So there was a traveler walking along the road, and he noticed that everything around him looked brown and dry. Nothing seemed to be growing in that region. And after a while, he came to a village. The traveler went to the first house and asked if they had any food to share. But the people said,
"We don't have any food to share because the fields are brown and dry."
The traveler went to a second house to ask for food. He'd been walking a long time. Might you have some food to share? And they said,
"Oh, so sorry. We don't have any food to share either."
and so, quite weary, he went to a third house to ask for food that they could share. And the people at the third house said,
"Nope, sorry. We don't have any extra food to share. It's been such a hard time for us."
well, the traveler decided to put a large pot in the center of the village, and he filled it with water, and he built a fire under it, and he called out, "Good people, since you have no food to share, I am forced to make my famous stone soup." Well, the people in the village had never heard of stone soup, and they came out of their houses to see what the traveler would do. So the first ingredient added to the warm water was the special stone. And the traveler stirred the soup. I do love stone soup. It is too bad that there's no onion in it. I mean, onion really makes a good stone soup. One of the villagers said,
"I think I may have an onion."
"Oh, why, thank you. Excellent. Now, if only we had some salt and some garlic. It really adds a nice touch." One of the villagers said,
"I think I may have some salt and garlic too."
"Ah, why, thank you." In went the garlic, in went the salt. Really good, said the traveler. You know, the best stone soup I ever tasted had some squash and mushrooms. And the villagers managed to find some squash and some mushrooms. Go figure. Stirring and smelling the aromas, the traveler said, "I love to top off the soup with some Parmesan and basil, but I don't know, I guess."
"Oh, I have some Parmesan and basil here."
"Oh, well, thank you." And in went the basil and in went the Parmesan. Ingredients of all kinds were added to the soup until there was enough delicious soup for all. And that night, everyone in the village shared a feast, and it had all started with one stone. Here ends our story.
Thanks a lot, Caitlin. I really love that story, the stone soup. That's actually one of my favorites. And the other thing is, you know, I still haven't gotten used to the Reverend Mark. I'm having a hard time sort of saying that. I'm sure I'll get used to it, but thank you for introducing me like you did. So the title of my reflection today is The Power and Grace of Community, because I've been doing a ton of thinking lately about community. What is community? What does that mean? How does it change me as an individual? How does it change society? Can community change the entire world? And you know that word has a different meaning to everyone. Community can be your family, it can be your social circle, it can be your book club, it can even be your church people. But like I said, community can also represent a very large network of people, such as your neighborhood or your school district, or even the community of human beings, of human society. But for today, specifically, I'm using the word community to represent a smaller, intimate group of people that chooses to be together in the world, chooses to support each other, and generally have each other's backs, such as our community here in All Souls. In one of his reflections entitled "Community Means Strength," Starhawk writes, "We are all longing to go home to some place we have never been, a place half remembered and half envisioned. We can only catch glimpses of them from time to time. Community. Somewhere there are people to whom we can speak with passion without having the words catch in our throats. Somewhere a circle of hands will open to receive us. Eyes will light up as we enter. Voices will celebrate with us whenever we come into our own power. Community means strength that joins our strength to do the work that needs to be done. Arms to hold us when we falter, a circle of healing, a circle of friends, someplace where we can be free." As most of you know, I have been coordinating the building refresh going on at 19 J Street. Honestly, when I started, I thought to myself, what the heck have you gotten yourself into? I was immediately feeling overwhelmed with the work involved and wondering how it was ever going to get done. Just about every inch had to be cleaned and painted, carpets had to be cleaned and replaced, and overall reorganized and reset up after the Homeless Hospitality Center vacated in mid-July. So the call went out for volunteers. Lots and lots of volunteers were and still are needed. But as we started tackling the jobs piece by piece, an amazing thing started happening. Now remember, I was away at school for 2 years. Then I did a 2-year internship in Sterling, then COVID. So I've been away from this congregation for over 4 years. Yet I was embraced by the folks that showed up like I had never been gone. Each volunteer day, whether there were 2 or 6 folks who showed up, the work began, the conversations flowed, laughter and camaraderie. Some folks came once, some just about every day there was an opportunity. Some brought their own paintbrushes, and some just showed up dressed, ready to clean and paint. I have been overwhelmed with people's willingness to roll up their sleeves and dive in, just because that's what we do. There could be no better example of meeting the spirit of love in person than my experience over these past few weeks. The spirit that gives unconditionally, the spirit that holds up and supports, the spirit that bestows grace. Have you ever had the kind of experience where you can be walking down the street, or maybe you're washing the dishes or running an errand, when for a split second, the universe seems to stand still and everything lines up in it and it's perfect? I've had that experience more than once recently. And for me, those are my grace moments. The understanding that something bigger than myself is happening here, unrequested and without cost. The understanding that community allows these moments to happen. Community allows us to let go and be open to the unexpected and mysterious. In her book, God of Love, Mirabai Starr talks about meeting the divine spirit of love in her language, which she calls God. The homeless man talking to himself in a loud voice. The teenager talking to her boyfriend on the phone in her car and applying mascara even as the light turns green. or the old woman slowly counting out change on the counter at the convenience store when you are late for a job interview. She writes, and her wording is, she uses masculine text to describe God. She writes, "You understand that this is why all the sacred teachings remind us to be vigilant. God could pop up anywhere, anytime, and drop his mask. When he does, we must be sure we have treated him like God, no matter how he was behaving." I have had the privilege of seeing so many masks drop these past few weeks. I have experienced a profound, beloved community and have been blessed by this experience. Remember, I went into this somewhat hesitant and perhaps even a bit cynical. So where is your beloved community? Who are the people that bless you and allow you to experience grace and mystery? Perhaps it's your bridge club or your walking group. Maybe it's your neighborhood group. And just maybe it's your community here at All Souls. What I have found is that goodness begets goodness, love begets love. When we allow ourselves to be held in community with all of our goodness and worth, and also with our wounds and hurts, we begin to allow ourselves to heal and be whole, however that looks in our lives. And that healing and wholeness spills out into the world in miraculous ways. So here's a bit of a plug for volunteering with the Refresh team. This past year and a half has been difficult in so many ways for all of us with this COVID. It seems like we take one step forward and 3 steps backward. I had the opportunity to be at Pequot Chapel last weekend to hear Reverend Carolyn preach, and it was the first time in forever that I was able to worship in community and in person. There was a palpable sense of joy in that room last Sunday. That same palpable sense is happening here at All Souls, right under this roof. That sense of community that so many of us have longed for over this past year and a half. That sense of belonging and support. That sense of the world standing still for one split second and experiencing grace. So, dear souls, wherever it is that you call community, go and be supported and loved. We have so desperately needed to be together in person and safely, I might add. We're getting there, even with what seems like baby steps. Our closing hymn this morning in a few minutes will be, We'll Build a Land, and I love these words. We'll build a land where we bind up the broken, where the captives go free, where the oil of gladness dissolves all mourning. We are building that land, folks, one paintbrush or roller at a time, one rally for social justice, one Black Lives Matter witness at a time. In each of our individual ways, like making stone soup, we are contributing what we can contribute to this feast of beloved community. Amen, and may it be so.
Thank you so much, Bill, for that beautiful rendition of Amazing Grace. And thank you, Mark, for such a relevant reminder of the oxygen that is community. And thanks also, Mark, for all the ways you've been engaging our community in the Building Refresh effort. Each week, we pause to pay attention to the joy or sorrow that we experienced in the week just past. There are two ways to share. One is by email to belovedcommunity@allsouls.net. Joys and sorrows that are received by 2 p.m. on Thursday are read aloud in the Sunday service. Also, you can share right now by entering your joy or your sorrow into the chat, where it will be witnessed and held by those of us gathered virtually here. And as you type your joys and sorrows in the chat, Mark and I will light candles of intention to hold a minute of shared silence together. Blessed be. I invite you to take a breath and lean in to your sense of what is sacred. Aware of the deep grace that is available to us in this life, we nod to the challenges and the worries of recent days. And because peace begets peace, and as Mark shared, love begets love, let us linger there and nurture both within ourselves as best we can. And from that place, may we be able to best navigate the week to come, and may we be able to take in grace when it appears. Let us say amen. I hope you'll join me in singing our closing hymn, We'll Build a Land.
We'll build a land where we bind up the broken. We'll build a land where the captives go free, where the oil of gladness dissolves all mourning. Oh, we'll build a promised land that can be. Come build a land where siblings and cousins, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. We'll siblings and cousins, anointed by God, may them create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream.
Now, please join Mary Gorton in speaking our chalice extinguishing words.
Our service has ended, but our work is not yet done. May our spirits be renewed and our purpose resolved as we meet the challenges of the week. The chalice flame is extinguished until once again ignited by the strength of our communion.
As we do each week, please place one hand over your heart and reach out with your hand as a blessing to each other. Goodness begets goodness, love begets love. As we go out into the world today, let goodness and love surround us and flow from us as we build beloved community. Go in peace, dear friends, and return again with great joy. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mark. Just a few announcements to share. As always, All Souls is grateful for your financial support. You can give via PayPal or Venmo or by mailed check. The giving links are in the YouTube description. Please be aware that we will be holding a memorial service for Charlie Kroll this Thursday at 12 p.m. at All Souls. A note about our weekly newsletter. The deadline for content is Tuesdays at 5 p.m. So please send your info to our new Faith Formation Administrator, Regina Mosley, at eblast@allsouls.net. So eblast@allsouls.net. And speaking of our weekly newsletter, I hope you'll take a look at the new COVID guidelines that are described in this week's newsletter. Also, please take a look at the volunteer time slots for the building refresh activities in the coming week. As Mark's reflection highlights, many hands make light work. And now let us enjoy a postlude from Bill. We'll see you at coffee hour if you're able.